The all-new Kia Niro, or Niro, wherever you want to pronounce it, in which country, is today on Autogefühl, your number one resource for in-depth car reviews and your number one community to discuss cars with Thomas. Welcome here today from Hamburg, Germany, on the river Elbe in the background. And this car here really holds a lot of surprises, I can promise you. Consumption-wise, concept-wise, because this one here is a built-in hybrid. Later it will also be available as a plug-in hybrid. We're starting with built-in hybrid here today, but this one, again, as I said, already holds a lot of surprises. We're going to explain you all of the details in exterior, interior, concept, engine-wise, and of course the driving experience. Now on Autogefühl in full HD, full screen, and full length. Let's go. The Kia Niro features the contemporary so-called tiger nose front grille from Kia. Here it was an interesting black knob structure in the front, so really something unique. And for a rather, well, it's about small, compact, depending on how you define it for which country, crossover already has a good stance on the road due to this tiger nose grille. And LED daytime running light also from serial equipment. 4.36 meters or 14'3" is the total length of this car. And that's also the question, where is this car situated? We know from Kia internally, we also have the Kia Soul electric vehicle, but that one is about 20 centimeters shorter, so it's a smaller car. Then, corporation-wise, there's the Honda Ioniq. That is approximately the same length, I think a little bit longer, but as a sedan. But it features the same drivetrain concept as well, only that we got hybrid, the built-in, the plug-in hybrid that will be coming here. And for the Ioniq will also be the fully electric vehicle. That is not planned for that one here yet, because here you also have the Soul. But then, what else is available there? Well, there would be a Toyota RAV4 SUV or crossover as a hybrid, built-in hybrid, but that's again 20 centimeters longer and still more expensive. And you see where I'm heading to. This car here really has found its own niche and is therefore very interesting. Other than that, 16-inch rims, they are the small ones. We will soon show you the bigger ones, how the car looks like with the bigger ones, but these one here are very good because they are optimized for the rolling resistance, and we try to score the consumption to be very low. Then with those roof rails, contrasting color, I really like the blue. It's not exactly a Thomas blue, that would be a little bit brighter, but overall a very elegant design, I think. And you get a contemporary SUV look, and it's still rather angular from the shapes. And the black design highlight here, you will see it better when we have another color from that car. And that's the way our blue one here looks with the bigger 18-inch rims. What do you think? And to give you another color here in this white one, here it's the case that we got the bigger contrast, and especially at the rear part where it's black right here. And we also have 18-inch rims mounted here, so bigger ones definitely than the 16-inch. Of course it's better on the visual part, looks more massive. 16-inch were again more optimized for the rolling resistance. And a third color choice, of course there are even more colors available, but just to show you that one here on location, in the red one, a very strong red color. Overall, I think, well, for me it's always the blue one that is most pleasing to me, but maybe that one is for you. Put me it in the comments. And now to the rear. Here Kia is using those silver contrasts again, and also styling element that the tail lights are more in a 3D scheme. They reach out a little bit, and that creates a kind of tech look in the rear. So what do you think about the design? This is the car key. Pretty standard, but slim, good to store. And there's also keyless entry available. It's not working like that. You have to press this button. And then also the side mirrors flip out, at least if you have this option or in the middle trim levels. And indeed, this is one of the middle trim level here. Door sound could be a little bit better, I think, but the handles are solid. And then this one here is the middle trim level called Vision, or depending on your market, maybe also Silver, so they use different names for the trim levels sometimes. And what's interesting that we had, like for example, also seen in Toyota Prius or in the Toyota Mirai recently, or also not from a Volkswagen Up, so these white elements, glossy, and I think it's nice because the black ones are pretty used, and this one is something fresh, something new. It's better than just to use plastics. And you see even the plastics here, it's not hard stuff, it's a little bit softened up, so really a great build quality. Also the buttons here, astonishing build quality, good build quality here already in a kind of non-premium car and also not premium price. So also continues here on with the seats, for example, and also with the white elements here and also the steering wheel. And this is interesting now because the lowest trim levels comes with cloth seats. Please go for the lower trim levels. That will be fine. You will have enough equipment already and then can add something extra. This is here the middle trim level, and this one is the combination of cloth, and it does not fit to a hybrid car, which is supposed to be sustainable. This is genuine leather and we don't support that. It's totally unnecessary. Why don't you just use a leatherette on here and save the animals? And there's also a full animal skin equipment available. Again, even worse. But at least we have the mix here, at least. But just go for the cloth seats in the lowest trim level. Electric adjustment is available here. Like this, also electric lumbar support. And again, everywhere where we can see something, the build quality is really nice. All of the buttons pretty solid, and those highlights here in the white. So I think it conveys a very simple and modern look. Let's get inside, and we have this crossover style, and that means we're sitting a little bit higher than usual, and you really have enough space also if you're tall. I'm 1.86 m or 6'1" for all our non-subscribers. Still have a lot of space above my head, and also the adjustment of the seats pretty much fits me well. Spacious feeling, so this car isn't too long, but you already get a lot of space, and that's also one very unique aspect about this car. You have a good usability overall, and overview is also very good to all of the sides. I have to mention that as well. The steering wheel can be adjusted in any direction, and again here also the mechanism is really suitable. So again, I think one of the main things is that it starts here in Germany about 25,000 euros. If you go the highest trim level, maximum 36,000 euros. But already when in the lowest trim levels, you get most of the equipment you really need, and then you can keep the price low and still have a hybrid vehicle. And now the cockpit overview. It's really a clean one. We still have some buttons, but I think it's okay. Here it's more like form follows function. And let's start here with some notable things. Here again on the dashboard, soft touch plastic, and I mean it maybe doesn't have the most premium look at the first sight because we don't have like any sensual lines and stuff. But from the build quality, this is maybe even better than some of the premium cars we have recently reviewed. Again, I think it's nice with this glossy white. You have to like it, of course, but I think it's something different and therefore also nice. And also this material you see also feels a little bit matte. Again, nice. And well, the screen, this one is not the most modern one, and I also don't like how you can not control it. It's, you cannot cruise around like in a smartphone, like with a zoom in and out. So I prefer if it would be possible the other way, zoom in and out, you would do like this with this knob. Here then the shortcuts for the system here. We will soon show you an in-depth overview of that one. So we got some shortcuts, but no shortcut for a home button. That would be rather this one here, this option button to get to the home screen. It's all done via touch. AC unit is below that, and again, good quality, and you still got basic buttons for that. Then here the automatic gear shifting lever for the dual clutch transmission. Works pretty well. Also got a sport mode that you can, for example, shift manual, that is possible. And some beverage holders right here. And then the arm rest, you can put your smartphone in here and charge the stuff. There's also a difference between the two USB slots. I will soon explain you. That's very interesting. Steering wheel, rather compact, again with this white highlights and white contour stitches on the inside. Compact grip and nice view to this white illuminated instruments. Soon also more details to that. So overall very functional. You can reach everything very fast, and you got the upright seating position. Very satisfying interior, definitely. Some storage space above here for the glasses, and glove box slides down smoothly. Well, not too much space inside here, but still, I mean, pretty standard as well. So overall, I think a very good cockpit. Or what do you think? Steering wheel controls, taking a call, ending it, volume. Then is when you got the Android Auto. So that is, only possible for Android Auto, that you can use also voice commands. On the right side, you got the controls for the automatic cruise control. Instruments with this white illumination, I think it's really nice. I like it. And on the left side, you have the fuel meter and also about the electric charging of the battery. And then it's also very interesting. See, when you're in this charging area, it's recuperating in the eco mode. It's not using so much fuel or just electric drive. And power, that is when you really hammer the throttle for the boost. And in the middle, you see something about the consumption already. We will tell you more details about that one later, of course. And when you drive the car and you are in electric mode, it says here EV in green. And I'll tell you more about it when we drive the car. That always signals you that you're just in the electric drive mode. And a detailed look at the infotainment system. So you rather use this button here to get to the home menu, and you can scroll like this. This connectivity with a smartphone with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. For my case, I would then connect here, press the phone button, and then connect it via Bluetooth for phone and music streaming. Or via media, I could also use it just as an iPod. Radios, of course, always available. Then turn warning indicators, always has to be a button. So we had still some hotkeys left. And in that main menu, I can also adjust the sound, for example. It's nice, I can change the position. Or I can also show you the Wi-Fi function. Not sure why they included that, because it's not really a Wi-Fi hotspot. You can, with like a smartphone, log in to a Wi-Fi network, but I mean, where would you do that with your car? I don't know. Not quite sure about that. Maybe you have an idea how you could use that. How would you use Wi-Fi in a car? Then this map view, it's in Hamburg. As I said, I would like to control rather like a smartphone. It does a quite good job in general. The reaction times are also okay. If you set a route, for example, sitting in any destination, see also the buttons you press, they are immediately there. So they have really worked on that. So overall, a quite good usable system. So this is one of the cars with the best option to put stuff in, aux in USB. And this one here is very interesting. This is for the connection. When you really want to listen to music, use your smartphone like an iPod, for example. Also for the smartphone connection, for the connectivity with Android Auto. 12-volt power supply, 2 times. And here below the armrest, that one here is when you want just to charge your phone. And why does it make sense? Because maybe I want to use the iPhone, connecting it via Bluetooth, and then I would just want to charge the phone. And I don't want it in the front, where the iPod function overrides the Bluetooth connection. So you really have the choice here. Very clever system. And what about the rear? Because the car is not that long, so it will be very interesting. First of all, the same style is carried out in the rear. As for the seats, also with the glossy white applications. And you see here, the door handles are also very solid and also in this galvanized style. Very nice. You got some beverage holders here in the rear. That's also a nice idea. And then the big advantage of this car is we're still in, where you can compare to other compact cars. They don't have that knee space. I mean, look at that. Really just have it in way longer cars. So very well usable as for the space. Also for the headroom. You can drive here with 4 very tall adults in a not that long car. That's really a big advantage. Also the seating position here is rather upright. Let's see if I can adjust it. Now that's just to flip it. I will soon show you that, but you cannot adjust it. But the way it is here right now, very comfortable also in the rear. And then it gets more interesting. First of all, for the middle seat, you sit a little bit higher here than not that good for an adult. I would just use it in emergency case. But now you've seen here what I've prepared, and that is from a MacBook, a charging adapter, and that is one great thing because quite often I want to charge it inside the car. It's not possible here. 220 volt. This is for the German market now. It will be, of course, according to your market or use an adapter. Then there's a child safety mechanism that, children cannot put their fingers in there. So you either turn it with your finger or turn it, with a plug like this, and then you can plug it in. So, we had it, for example, in the Skoda Superb in one of the very rare cars. But then it was a problem here with the charger from the MacBook. And here, as you see, you have enough space around here. They really have thought about it, so it's no problem to plug it in. Really great solution, the best one I've seen ever, actually. And then here, there's another armrest with beverage holders. And also to show you here, you flip the seats right from here. There it is. And this is 1/3, 2/3 split, so you can do it like this. And you already see here, we get an even transition to the loading area. We'll take a look at that now. And what about it? You open the trunk right here. There's a button below there. Then flips up. And you see, again, hardly any space is wasted. Very well usable. 450 some liters standard. And then when you flip everything, about just over 1,400 liters. Some more small space below that cover here. And then you see this is also already good set up, and you see this loading through possibilities. Fixations for tension belts, very nice solution here as well. And then you don't need a separate mechanism. It's easy to reach it here and also flip the other seats, and then you can always remove this cover here also quite easily. And then what is also interesting, that the passenger seat does not have the electric function to control like, so the co-driver seat does not have the electric function like the driver seat, but here, well, that's the maximum way, back and forth, so it would have been great if we could totally flip it, but here if you put it all the way to the front, you see you have a lot of space from the rear to the front. Now to the centerpiece of this car. First of all, you see here the hood is split. That is to save insurance fees. For example, when you have a small crash, you just replace this one, don't have to replace the whole hood. And therefore also your insurance fees are usually lower for that car then. Here, put up the engine and see it says here already hybrid, and usually all of the orange parts you see here, those belong, also you see a high voltage, belongs to the electric system, also those parts. You usually see that. And that one here is the classic combustion engine. 4-cylinder, 1.6 liter of displacement, 105 horsepower, and the electric drivetrain is 44 horsepower. Those are not impressive horsepower figures, but it will be enough for city driving. And 4.4 liters of consumption is the official figure with, well, the official figures on paper will never be scored. Will it? We're going to test it in our driving experience. That's not all right. You heard the engine has gone on, but that's interesting. When I'm in park or neutral mode, let's see, at some point the engine goes, or maybe because of the AC, but when I'm going to the D mode then, engine is turned off because, and that's the main reason of the hybrid, when I'm starting it now, being somewhere in the city or around the neighborhood, car is silent and it's using the electric drive, and I see it in the front as well. It says then it's a green EV symbol, and I also hear it. Now you maybe also heard it on camera, about 30 kilometers an hour. Also the normal combustion engine went on. As I said earlier, 105 horsepower for the 1.6 liter petrol engine and about 44 horsepower for the electric drive. And so both are working together. And the funny thing is really, as soon as you hit the brakes or maybe just let the car roll, then the combustion engine is turned off again and you're just running silently. And that's also, especially for this cities around, it's really a good advantage. Here again, the suspension test, because we got some bumpy road here and still feeling rather comfortable. Also due to this crossover riding position, you have a rather upright seating position, which is generally comfortable. Also just for the overview in the city, because the car, well, just a limited view to the rear a little bit because the rear window is slim, but you know where the car is ending. That's good, and also all of the other windows are rather steep, so a good overview. And they promise a consumption of 4.4 liters. Well, we know it's never really true. Realistic consumption, we've already driven a couple of kilometers, and so far it's about 6.4 liters, so 2 liters above the stated. That is, usual. And I mean, it's still okay, and you can especially use it, for example, just think about, especially like for the last mile, when you're in front of your house, going front and back again, up and forth, reverse, drive, then it's really good that the car is not making strange noises all the time. That you can really do in electric mode. Or also think about taxi drivers. Therefore also the Toyota Prius is more and more famous now among taxi drivers, when they're standing in the taxi row and just need to roll forward very slowly, one by one. It's also good to have this hybrid drive here available. And you don't have to do much. The car is doing everything pretty much on its own. Don't need to control it in manual or something like that. Here again, rolling towards the traffic light. Also the arrow goes in the charge area, and that means that yes, recuperation is going on. So also when you're going downhill, no energy is wasted. It's always being used, and it's also good to know, especially when going downhill for a very long time. Now there's again the electric drive available, and it's good that it's silent. Well, it would also happen with a normal start-stop function here, for example, but the difference is then when as soon as the traffic light jumps to green, I can roll the first few meters again with the electric drive. And overall, that's nice. The combination between both engines is done with a dual clutch transmission. Therefore, that you don't have too harsh transmissions, transitions, between the both engines. However, you do feel it when the engine gets active. You have to get used to it, because it happens, quite often, especially in city traffic, that it's changing back, engine off, engine on. Then I'm always asking myself as well, is that okay for the engine? As for the long-term durability. I mean, they must have thought about something, because also the Toyota systems and also from Hyundai and Kia, they have scored very good reliability scores as of late. And so at this stage then, I think we can also trust them that they care about that one here in the hybrid vehicles as well. The engine itself is not that loud. It's also well insulated from the passenger cabin. And well, it's not, an engine you would push too hard. I mean, it also doesn't have too much horsepower. So this is really more a city car, that you can have those advantages with the hybrid drive as well. We're going to go on this very short Autobahn ride, that we can also talk more about the sound installation. As for the wind noise, that is also an important aspect of our driving review as well. The car has a nice direct steering. It doesn't feel that sporty because you got this higher seating position in this crossover style. But this agile feeling from the steering wheel also helps you in city traffic, that you don't have to turn the steering wheel all the way around all the time. That's also nice. And here, for example, 50 kilometers an hour, I just let the car roll, get from the throttle because I know, there's another red traffic light ahead. And again, just in electric drive mode, and you can roll or maybe even hit the brake and charge the engine just a little bit again. And well, that's this good thing to know, that nothing is lost kind of from the energy. Well, sometimes you really have to check out if it's now the electric drive or not, because when you're driving very slowly, the engine is also rather silent. And then sometimes you don't exactly know. Yeah, then when you see the EV symbol in the instruments, then you really know we are on the electric drive. So especially for the city, I mean, it's a nice system. The big advantage is you never have to charge it, because with plug-in vehicles, for some people that might be a little bit annoying. We also know the figures that a lot of plug-in hybrid drivers do not charge their vehicles because they are, come on, I'm really annoyed. Here it's just inbuilt, which I'm basically not the biggest friend of, but still better to have an inbuilt plug-in than none. And the advantage of this car is, because you're also sharing this concept with the Hyundai Ioniq, the new vehicle is in the inbuilt plug-in to charge, and so plug-in hybrid, and also as a fully electric drive. They can share parts and save some costs, and therefore this is also a relatively cheap hybrid vehicle. And we also know that at a later stage this one will also be offered as a plug-in hybrid vehicle. I'm really looking even more forward to driving that one, because then I think for the most time I can really just drive electrically, especially in the city. Here again, just going down a little bit, but that's enough that the combustion engine does not have to be active, so I'm sailing in the electric vehicle mode. There's just little bits of recuperation. If I want the car to hold the speed, I just push the throttle a little bit, just a little bit. Then I see we're not in the charge, but just between charge and this eco mode. And I can let the car roll as long as possible or just maintain the speed. But here, again, all the time in the electric vehicle mode, especially when you got, some height difference, then you can really use it inside the city as well. Still electric mode. And here again, some slalom test. You see how direct the steering is. That's just nice. I mean, why not? It doesn't have to be a sports car. Also for a normal city vehicle, it's good. It promises you some riding fun. And of course, the good handling, in parking lots and stuff. Also, for 12 people, I don't feel like caged in, although it's not the biggest vehicle. That's also good. Also, as for the seating position, I mean, I wouldn't mind going a longer trip with that car, so that's perfectly fine as well. Now you maybe heard it. I'm not sure if you can really hear it in camera. Put me that one in the comments. If it's really that remarkable when the combustion engine is turning on and off. Here, when you're driving it live yourself, you do hear that, but it's really just, a rather slight feeling, and so that's pretty much okay. Here, for example, again now in city regions, some suburbia, just rolling with 30 kilometers an hour, that's again the terrain of the electric drive. And there you can also have the advantage that it's really silent. You can relax more, especially when being in the city, or especially when also being stuck in traffic, because that can be very annoying, but at least when you're being in the traffic jam, you got it silent. And I mean, that's also a nice feeling then. And just imagine everyone would be driving the hybrid vehicles, then there would be a traffic full of hybrid vehicles where you don't have any exhaust fumes just right where you are in the traffic. And that, of course, even if we still have to resolve the problem with the battery production that is very energy intensive, at this given stage inside the city where we really have the problems with the pollution, that would solve at least one problem. I mean, that's surely not a bad thing. So, looking at the map as well, you can read the map quite well while driving. So, still in the electric vehicle mode, and when I'm really very gentle with the throttle, I can also accelerate still. Accelerated now from 15 to 40 kilometers an hour, still pure in the electric drive mode. Oh, now I have to turn right, I forgot that one. Maybe someone will be nice and let me through. Let's see, is there someone nice here? Maybe not. Oh, there it is, an old lady. Thank you very much. They're often the nicest on the road. Because they're not in a hurry and think, yeah, I'm the biggest car ruler on planet Earth. A lot of guys usually have to say, use the road, to say, I am the greatest of all time. I don't know. Maybe they don't get any confirmation somewhere else in their life then. We always try to drive as safe as possible and always try to respect others. That's the most important in traffic because there's so many people here always. Now for a short Autobahn ride, that won't give a big advantage for the electric drive, of course, but it will also be part of your car riding life. Consumption now, as we use the electric drive a lot now in the city, went down to 5.6 liters, by the way. That gets us a little bit closer to the officially stated consumption. Also, we're going into the famous Elbtunnel now, Elbtunnel, Hamburg. And that's also a good test, because then we can also rate the insulation more, because in the tunnel it's often quite loud. At the moment 70 kilometers an hour. Maximum of 80 kilometers an hour is allowed here, going now for 80. And it was also interesting, you can see now how the instruments look like in the dark. And they're very nice, look at that. The white rings around the instruments, that creates a very modern atmosphere. Some could also say, it's too joyful, but I think it's nice. It's creates a good atmosphere. And also the Elbtunnel is going downwards, and then again, now I'm in electric vehicle mode. And also good for the tunnel, because also in a tunnel we don't want so many exhaust fumes. So again, we're in a good position here. Just going down slightly, some of the cars charging a little bit, depending on if we reduce the speed or increase the speed. So, just on our short ride here, we had a lot of elements, a lot of situations where we could really very well use the hybrid drive, even though it's just built in. So overall, I'm, really positive about that. Sound insulation wise, yeah, it's gotten a little bit louder here in the tunnel now, of course. That's also quite normal. But I think still it's at a good niveau. So I'm rather satisfied with that. I don't have to raise my voice that much. Actually, that's still okay. So now we're going a little bit uphill again, because the tunnel below the river Elbe. So of course it goes downhill first and then uphill a little bit. Then it can be covered. So just checked if my lights were on, because some truck driver was complaining. Maybe we didn't mean us. So now as I'm going uphill, the combustion engine is active. You can always check if you're still in this eco region, then you don't consume that much power. And of course you can also hammer the throttle, that is possible as well. Then it goes in this power region on the instruments. We're going outside the tunnel, and if I want to hammer now, then we go to power. Oh, it's still okay as for the sound. We don't hear the engine too much, even if we really hammer throttle. And consumption went down here even to 5.3 liters now. Of course, it will go up a little bit if we hammer the throttle a little bit more on the Autobahn. So, now we are on the Autobahn. It's a little bit louder from all of the other vehicles. Of course, this will not be a high-speed Autobahn vehicle. That's not the purpose of this car. Now its speed limit is gone. Let's see if we can accelerate. Maybe 80 to 100. Let's hammer. And that's it. 110, 120. Yeah, I mean, it's not a big performance, of course. That's not intended. But for overtaking on the Autobahn, you need to take your time. You have to foresee stuff. It's not a sudden acceleration. But I mean, it's enough for your normal city driving. It's okay. If you want to overtake a lot of people on the Autobahn quite often, then of course it's not the perfect car. You have to be sure of that. But as a city vehicle, to save some fuel and to drive silently as often as possible, that will really do just fine. So, I think we delivered you a lot of insight, overall positive impression, and good is really that you can get a usable crossover city hybrid car for a rather reasonable price, here also with driving. And now I'm also looking forward to get the plug-in version of that car here, maybe at some later stage. That will be very interesting again. And to close it up, now we're going downhill again, and we're in this electric mode yet again then. And probably the first time ever in a car with combustion engine, at the end of the driving, we could score the official stated consumption, 4.4 liters on 100 kilometers. Well done, Niro. And now the conclusion, Kia Niro. So far with the built-in hybrid, looking forward more to the plug-in hybrid as well. But you know, I wasn't really a fan of built-in hybrids, but it really works, I have to admit that. And this car here overall is probably one of the best cars we have reviewed this year. I mean, not the best performance car and not the best, you know, in agile riding, and not the most ever premium and 100,000 euro car, but exactly that's the reason. It's still an achievable car, an affordable car with a hybrid system, and hardly ever it's possible to score the official figures of consumption. Just, you know, with plug-in hybrids where you can first use the electric drive and then start with the consumption, then it's possible. But here, you know, with a normal combustion engine just combined with some electric system, still very good, low consumption for the general combustion engine. And then if you use these electric elements in the city driving especially, you can have really good consumption figures. It will also pay off for you. And the inbuilt hybrid system is always cheaper, of course, than, you know, to afford such a car. Exterior-wise, it's a modern crossover look. It's also a compact car. You know, you can very well use in the city because it's not that long. You'll find a parking spot anywhere. The interior surprises with a great interior build quality that is in a lot of parts better than we see with, you know, way more expensive premium cars. I was really surprised by that. You know, just the one flaw that we have this sustainable hybrid car and then say, well, even in the seat mix we have to use genuine leather, that's not necessary. Other than that, the using of space is also great. You see we had a lot of space here, even in the rear compartment. 4 adults will be no problem in this car, also the trunk. So overall, from the basic car concept, if you combine everything together, it's really, you know, one of the best cars we've seen lately. And so this one is one of the big surprises of this year. I want to hear your opinion to exterior, interior and the driving experience with the concept. And I hope I'll see me at the next Autogefühl episode. Thanks for watching, guys.